when I was shopping for a motorcycle, Ducati seemed to be a brand that both had a really cool story and history and also was super rare. But at the time, I didn't know there was a side chapter in the Ducati history that led to an even more rare bike. So everybody knows that Ducati is actually owned by its parent company, which is Audi. Hence why there's Lamborghini edition Ducatis. But did you know, for a short time, even less than a year, there was another parent company that was in the mix. And the result was an extremely rare Mercedes-AMG motorcycle. And no, it's not the one I'm sitting on. This is the Ducati AMG Diavel, one of the rarest, most collectible motorcycles that you can buy with the name Ducati right now. And yes, before Lamborghini and Audi bought Ducati, back in the early 20-teens, there was a production happening where AMG was making Ducati Diavels. During that production time is when Audi actually did pull the trigger and took over and stopped production of the AMG line of Diavels. So that makes a collector piece like this worth even more. And the one beside me, which is sitting brand new with 0 mileage and never sat on, here at Ducati Center Oakville in Ontario. Price tag is around $100,000 US, but for that, you're gonna get one of the most unique riding experiences that you can. So let me show you what makes it a true AMG, even though at first glance, you might not be able to pick up on some of the minor details. So the first thing to notice is the AMG wheel. And even though it says AMG right on the wheel, the 5-spoke rim itself actually looks like some of what we see in the Mercedes lineup, with that brushed aluminum trim sort of around the painted alloy. As you get a little bit closer, you'll see some more details like the Alcantara AMG seat. And even just feeling the side of it, it's pretty much exactly what the Alcantara feels like on the seat of an AMG or on the headliner or anywhere else in that car manufacturer's lineup. Then there's these little sort of panels. So there are little angular bits to the Alcantara seat and an AMG badge sort of right on your lower back. So on the front of the Diavel, there's not a whole lot that AMG changed because it already is a really good looking bike. However, as you start to get to the side, we can see the AMG logo start to appear, as well as some carbon bits and the color scheme itself being a little bit unique. We have a little bit of a brushed, it's got like a brushed aluminum, but all blacked out, which back in 2013 was just coming out for things like supercars and hypercars. So to see that on a motorcycle is really good. Then we have the carbon and white color scheme that blends together quite nicely, and all the materials feel really high quality. Like even just these venting here, I noticed, are actually some sort of metal instead of just a plastic, which they definitely could have gotten away with, no doubt about that. But as the story continues, we even have the number plate of the AMG Diavel Special Edition, and this particular one is 352, which I'm told is the last batch of 12 that came off the assembly line, and that just gives this bike just a little bit more rarity. Okay, so let's talk about the exhaust. As many Ducatis, we have this gorgeous exhaust work sort of swooping down the side and coming up the rear, where we're greeted by the AMG exhaust. And there is a little AMG logo towards the very back, a little bit of carbon shielding on the top, as well as some carbon bits going towards the front of that muffler. And I noticed the function of the rear foot pegs, and the fact that this bike even has rear foot pegs is pretty sharp. But when they're not down, you almost don't even notice that they're there at all. As the back of any beautiful motorcycle, we have this really nice, aggressive yet refined stance. And as you get up close, you'll notice that the tire on the Diavel is a 240 series. So super, super wide. That's a little bit offset with the way that the rim is designed, and that license plate bracket that's famously wrapped around the tire as like a separate floating fender. But the coolest feature of the bike I saved for last, and that is right here on the side of the case cover, where it says that the camshaft timing was hand set by and then the engineer's signature is right there on the casing. And that is a very AMG-esque type signature or last final touch to put on the bike, and it makes it super, super unique. So there you have it, the rarest and most collectible Ducati ever made, and is here at Ducati Center, Oakville, the AMG Diavel. Let me know in the comments below what you thought of this motorcycle.